look like. Is it okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh no, that looks great. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Karapetian, and I run the Great Global Cleanup with EarthDay.org. Our goal with the Great Global Cleanup is to rid the environment of waste and plastic pollution for good, which is perfect because today's guest is none other than Ripu Daman Bevli. Ripu, I'm going to give you a short introduction and then we'd love to hear from you. Ripu has transitioned from a tech professional to a socialpreneur, marathoner, and environmentalist, has kickstarted India's first eco-fitness movement, has made history as the world's most famous blogger, embracing a unique blend of fitness and eco-consciousness. Ripu, aka the Plogman of India, has become a beacon of change in the fight against pollution in India. Ripu, you've been recognized by the government of India, started the Litter Free India movement, along with being named as one of LinkedIn's top 15 green voices, Cosmopolitan Social Media Activist of the Year 2020, and have been appointed as the ambassador for Earth Day India. The list goes on and on. Ripu, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I am doing very well, Michael. Thank you so much for having me today.
For the people who are listening who don't know, what is plogging?
Well, I mean, I call it like a fancy term for cleanup. Basically, the idea is that you combine fitness to fight the garbage crisis in the city that I was living in, Delhi. But then I wanted to make it a national movement, so I took it to various cities across the country. And we get kids and youth involved, and we kind of initially tricked them into coming for a cleanup because we said it's a fitness activity. We're gonna run and we're gonna workout. So I also call it the trash workout. So basically, we're doing a lot of workouts, squats, lunges, deadlifts, and picking up litter. Plogging itself is a word coming from Sweden. It's a Swedish word which combines two words, plocka up and pick up. Plocka up means pick up and jogging. So it combines those two words to become plogging.
Awesome. And you said you trick people to come out there. Are they thinking they're just coming for a regular cleanup and you make them run?
Well, initially that was the whole idea, right? So I used to call people for cleanup, nobody turned up. But I, being a runner, whenever we were running or organizing workout sessions, I would see so many people turn up. So that was my cue into saying people don't come for cleanups, but people come for workouts. So why not combine the workout with a cleanup? That's when the idea of the trash workout or vlogging came into existence. So at the end of a training session, we would just hand over uh, trash bags to people, and while we were cooling down, like running slowly, jogging slowly, we started picking up litter, and it became a holistic fitness activity, and everybody just loved it. And now you don't have to trick people because it's become the coolest thing to do. So initially, when I started out, I wanted to make picking up other people's litter the coolest thing to do in India. And today, with almost 10 million people participating in it, I think it's become pretty cool.
It's funny. That's when you have to get a movement going, you do kind of have to find subtle ways to make people to want to get out there and do this thing. But it's awesome, and I've seen that this movement has really picked up in India. What's very interesting to me about you is that you were pretty set in your career in the tech industry. And can you tell me a little bit about that, and then why you eventually decided to leave to do this?
Well, I mean, while I was in I call it my previous lifetime because it's been 7 years. And in my previous lifetime, I wanted to do well, wanted to climb up the corporate ladder very fast. And I did that. I literally had a high flying, high paying job. I would travel 4 to 6 times a week, be in different cities, take literally like 4 to 6 flights a week. And I was living a dream, the dream that I had envisioned a few years ago of being this high flyer, jet setter, working out of lounges and airports and customer locations and doing pretty well, solving problems. Real world problems is what I thought I was solving because there were internet problems, like making the internet fast, reliable, and secure for our customers and their mobile apps. So I believed I was shaking up the world. I was doing something which was really important, as well as was paid very well for it. I was leading the sales team for India, so I was managing the entire country sales for an MNC. And when I reached that position, I felt, I mean, it didn't feel great. I was working hard for it for the last 4 5 years, and when I reached there, I was like, I was missing something. And that's when I started running again, working out again in the mornings. And when I would run and work out in the mornings, there were lesser people and no traffic. That's when I started picking up litter. It just became like a cool activity for me to do along with my running. And everything went uphill or downhill, whichever way you want to look at it, from there.
Uphill or downhill? That's funny. Do you do you think you can dive into a little bit more of what that missing piece was for you in what you call your previous lives? I think that's like very. I think there's something like very important to dive in here to,
Yeah.
people who are very heavily focused on their career and they're, they are creating great things, but they get to the top of the mountain.
When you're in that moment, you don't know what's missing, but there was that inkling that something's missing. There's more to me than what I am right now up to. That was the constant feeling that I was getting for a couple of years, and I just pushed myself harder into work, worked 18-hour work, had 18-hour work days, and was happy with the work and whatever that I was achieving. And yet there was that little inkling somewhere that something's missing. So when I started running again after a gap of 4 5 years, so I've been a sports person all my life. I was running, I was playing cricket, football, volleyball at state level, district level. So I've literally been a sports person. And then in 2012, I had a major hamstring injury that kept me out of running and kept me out of any sort of sport for like 4 5 years. It was a major hamstring injury. I would walk with a limp for almost a year. So when I resumed running in 2016, it was like a catalyst towards finding what that little missing piece was. Because when I started picking up litter, and I also started observing litter, and I started picking up litter, and suddenly some people just started joining me. That's when I realized what I was missing was giving back to the society, doing something for the country, doing something for the environment, something that I'm absolutely passionate about. These two things, my love for the country and the environment. So that's when I realized what was the missing piece, and that's how it all started.
You ran across 50 cities in 50 days, running over 1,000 kilometers. Plogging. What was
Yeah.
that experience like?
When we started doing it, we didn't know how will we be able to do this. But like I said, a completely passion project. We were able to achieve and I mean, actually overachieve our goals. Because if I have to give you a semblance of what we did, we covered 50 cities, we cleaned up 1,000 kilometers. But what happened during that way was the Honorable Prime Minister took note of our work. He actually reached out and he said the government of India wants to be a part of it. And from getting hundreds of people in every city, we got thousands of people in every city suddenly. And by the end of that 50-day campaign, we had 4 million people join us during that 50-day period.
Wow. Fast forward to today. What does the support look like for you?
Oh, so we had a big what do you call it, breakthrough event in 2019, and then we had a major setback event globally, which was the Corona pandemic, the lockdowns that were enforced on the entire world. India was no different. So for like 2 years, we were literally holed up in our homes, and we couldn't go out, we couldn't plan anything on the road. That's when I embraced social media, because I was literally not on social media before that. Most of
Mhm.
our work was on ground, and that's how I wanted it to be. But when we didn't have anywhere to go, we started adopting or embracing social media. That became our outlet, a way to reach people. And it so happened then that in the for the year 2020, I was given this title of social media activist, and I was like, wow, social media does have a lot of power, and somebody is watching even when you don't have a clue of what you're doing on social media. There are people who are looking at you and are getting inspired. So slowly and steadily we started building our social media, and today, how it looks like is, I'll give you a couple of instances where, with the kind of support that we're getting from the government, the ministries, and authorities. So in 2022, July 1st, 2022, India had a major historic step where it banned almost 20 kinds of plastic items from the entire country. That was a major step taken at the national level. And once that happened, we partnered with a couple of state governments to create campaigns by mobilizing people, by making them aware that this ban is happening and these are the alternatives, and also have a way of feedback back to the government and authorities that look, the alternatives might be there, but they are extremely expensive, or in some cases, the alternatives to plastics are just not available or easily accessible.
How does the culture impact how people um, interact with the environment?
Well, I think today India is like any typical developing or even developed country for that matter. We want to grow fast. We want to have a bigger house. A bigger car. Be successful. I think that's what most of the world, and so is most of India, uh, running after. And and I think that's the definition of success, right? And most people want to be successful. I think we will never be sustainable if we continue to have this definition of success. I think we need to shift the definition of success towards what's our impact towards the society. How much have we given back? Have we done something? Have we left the place better than we found it? I think those are the conversations that we need to drive towards, where the definition of success shifts. And once that happens, I'm pretty sure that automatically everybody will run after that success. And I always keep saying this, that we are humans. We're not like trees which give out oxygen during the day. We're humans, we pollute just by our existence, right? Because even when we breathe, we just give out CO2. So we will continue to pollute. So we can never be sustainable. All we have to be is mindful. Can we cut down our carbon emissions, our waste by a little much? Let's say whenever we go and decide to buy a jeans or a pair of apparel, do we really need that right now, or can we wait for another 6 months? If the and mostly the answer will be yes, we can wait for 6 months. It's not the end of the world if we don't buy it. So those are small things that we all need to ask ourselves. And if all can do that, I'm pretty sure that we will become more mindful. And once we become more mindful, automatically the nature restores itself very fast. We saw that during COVID lockdowns, how suddenly everything just became so clean, and the water became clean, the air became clean. You could see clear blue skies. How did that happen? The moment, like for a few days, humans got hauled up inside homes, we saw nature restoring itself. So it's just a matter of choice that 8 billion people on this planet can make. I know it's a lot of people, but it's a small effort every day that could make a big impact.
Yeah, and I've noticed it's those consumeristic tendencies and that, like you said, that definition of success that we have nowadays that needs to change. Once you do change it, you kind of get yourself out of that rat race, and
Yeah,
you life does become better. It becomes cheaper in a lot of ways. You save money. You live more
yeah,
holistically, and the things that you have in your life are more meaningful. At
yeah.
least what I've noticed. So I think that's an incredible way to look at it. So my question for you then is, in terms of getting people to change their mindset, are you hopeful about the future?
I am. Um, so I'm an eternal optimist. Let me just first put that as a disclaimer. But I'm also a realist. I do look at the world realistically. Uh, in hindsight, as overall 360-degree view, yes, I'm an optimist, but every day I do see the reality of it, and it does bother me or pull me down sometimes. But I still am hopeful and completely optimist because the changes that we are looking for are not big changes, small changes. Like, let me give you examples. What if all of us start composting at home? What if all of us start growing like a couple of veggies at home? What if all of us segregate our waste properly and try to recycle as much as possible? These are small measures that can go a long way when 8 billion of people on the planet do the same. It's not a big deal for all of us to start composting and grow a couple of veggies. And but just that little measure will take will make a huge impact when 8 billion people do it. So I'm hopeful. I'm very optimistic with the movement, with the Litter Free India movement that I run. I believe that when you bend down to pick up somebody else's litter, you will not litter again. We've touched almost 10 million people. I'm hopeful that we can touch as many in the next few years and hopefully create a litter free India, literally like how we go, let's say, to Europe and we don't, or Japan, and we see no litter around at all. I'm hopeful that we can reach there in my lifetime at least, and India could become a beacon to. If India can do this, then anybody or any country can do anything literally in the world.
That's awesome. Hey, thank you so much for taking time to speak. I got one more question for you. What's next for you, and what's next for Litter Free India?
Well, when I started out in 2016, I had two primary goals. One was to make picking up other people's litter the coolest thing to do in the country. I think we've kind of achieved that. Everybody wants to be a part of a trash workout or a plugging session. Everybody, I mean, there are hundreds of communities today, active communities across the country, which are doing this. Youth, especially schools, colleges who are actively participating everywhere in the country. So I think it's become very, very cool and everybody wants to be a part of it. The ultimate goal is to achieve a litter free India. And that's something which is a work in progress. For me, in the next year or so, I am planning to organize similar campaigns that I did in 2019, Run to Make India Litter Free. Similarly, I'm planning to organize campaigns across every state and union territory in the next couple of years. We have 29 states and 7 union territories. So, want to organize these campaigns, a month-long campaign, pretty much every state. And in the next couple of years, 24 to 30 months, we want to have a litter-free India community in every district. There are about 770 districts. So we'll probably have in the next couple of years close to 1,000 communities, active communities of locals working towards creating a sustainable community, making people aware, working towards a litter-free world. So that's my hope for the next couple of years.
Where can people find you and support you?
Well, I'm hoping that we'll expand our social media reach, but for now, you could reach out to me at Plogman of India across social media, Instagram, Twitter, sorry, X.com, uh, Facebook, or YouTube.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. It was great to meet you and great to talk to you. Thank you, Ripu.
Thank you, Michael, for having me.